Good noon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jackie Robinson Ballpark for Game 2 of 3 for our weekend series between the Jackson State University Tigers and your Bethune-Cookman University Wildcats. Starting lineup for the Tigers tonight. Batting first, fielder number 3, Davis Wilson. Batting second, fielder number 9, Daniel Adams. Batting third base number 4, Todd Hill. Batting fourth, number 3, number 2, Marcus Idaho. Batting fifth, number 12, Caesar Serino. Batting sixth, number 11, Marcus Marshall. Batting seventh, catcher number 21, Marshall Reeves. Batting eighth, shortstop number 2, Omar Gomez. Batting ninth, second baseman number 6, Logan Dodd. Starting pitcher for the Tigers, number 8, Austin Campbell. The Tigers head coach is Omar Jefferson. And now for your Bethune-Cookman University Wildcats. Batting first, third baseman number 5, Luis Guerrero. Batting second, center fielder number 34, Aaron John. Batting third, right fielder number 4, Island Hall. Batting fourth, left fielder number 25, Boris Kenya. Batting fifth, designated hitter number 31, Robert Moya. Batting sixth, first baseman number 16, Manny Solberg. Batting seventh, catcher number 22, Irvin Escobar. Batting eighth, second baseman number 2, Colton Olason. Batting ninth, shortstop number 25, Jeremy Garcia. Starting pitcher for your Wildcats, number 11, Daniel Rivera. The head coach for the Wildcats, Johnny Hernandez. May you all please rise for the playing of our national anthem.
Well, live on a gorgeous Friday evening here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark in downtown Daytona Beach, Florida. It's time for another edition of Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. Tonight, the Wildcats, with a win, will not only clinch the series against Jackson State, but secure themselves the number 2 seed in the East in the upcoming Southwestern Athletic Conference Tournament. Hello and a very warm welcome. Happy to have your company. My name is Michael Girillo. Bryce Wojnowski in the booth alongside me as always. Bryce, last night we saw a pretty confident Wildcat squad. Defensively didn't allow a run, only 6 hits. Offensively, though, things need a little bit of work.
Yeah, Mike, we talked a little bit with head coach Jonathan Hernandez after the game last night. The word he used was stale, and not to necessarily suggest the team is playing badly or there's any bad attitudes, but when you're in a long college baseball season and you're towards the end and you've more or less solidified where you're going to end up for the tournament, things can get a little stale. It's the way the game is at any level, and the guys on this squad are certainly feeling it at this point. So today is a matter of getting out there, doing your job, trying to keep that momentum going as you head into next week, and getting that win and locking in that 2 seed, which we know is very, very important heading into next week.
Of course, last night we all saw the expertise of Nolan Santos on the mound as he broke the program record for strikeouts in a single season, setting the regular season mark at 124. Who knows what he's going to do in the playoffs. Tonight, Daniel Gaviria takes the mound, a very different type of pitcher, whereas Santos loves to strike you out, loves the big flashy plays. Gaviria, pitch-to-contact guy, loves to let the defense do the work, and his ERA kind of shows it. It's a little bit elevated, 3.84, but he's still 5-3 on the season, really good in conference play, and a solid number 2 starter.
Yeah, Mike, Daniel Gaviria is a guy who's really going to have to be the guy for the Wildcats in that second game come tournament time, and he's a guy that can be a huge boost for your squad. And we're talking about going late in games, working, keeping that bullpen, keeping some arms for later in the series, and we know how important that's going to be in Atlanta next week.
Jatavius Melton leads off. He was 0 for 4 last night with 2 strikeouts. Melton batting .318, 68 runs on 56 hits. 4 homers, 37 RBIs, and Gaviria, the lefty, fires outside ball 1, and we are underway from Jackie Robinson Ballpark. Second pitch comes in, just misses off the outside corner, 2-0. The reason that this game is so important, the reason why it's important to take the win today, is because you'd lock yourself into that second seed in the East, and you'd avoid facing off against Alabama State until the finals.
I think most head coaches in this league, players, and everyone else would agree that Bama State and BCU have kind of emerged as the top 2 teams to beat in this conference.
And a 5-pitch walk issued to Melton. First base runner aboard for Jackson State.
And, of course, Mike, with FAMU in action today with 2 against Alabama State, the first of which we just saw end right before this one. 5-4 win in 14 innings for the Rattlers.
Now, it's either a BCU win or a Rattlers loss in their second game of the doubleheader today would lock the Wildcats into that second seed. Obviously would like to get the job done here, not leave it in somebody else's hands, even though the Rattlers are playing Alabama State.
With that number 1 seed clinched for the Hornets, you may see some resting guys over there.
This is Daniel Bannon, a junior from Sussex Inlet, New South Wales, Australia. Traveling a long way to the other side of the world to play his college baseball. He's behind in the count 1-0. Gaviria spins and throws back to first, trying to get Melton. Bannon, 372, 46 runs on 71 hits, no homers, 31 RBIs, but where he shined yesterday was his defense, making a couple of terrific catches out in left that saved a couple BCU runs, bunted down the first base line, foul, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, he'll have to look out for Manny Soufrain, outside of the stadium after the game, and probably last night as well. Robbed him of 2 what really should have been hits and potentially a couple RBI with just some outstanding grabs out there. A sliding catch, some over his head, went both ways. He was outstanding.
Really good defense by the Tigers all around, actually by both teams yesterday. There's a strike right down the middle. Bannon watches it go. First K of the day for Gaviria, and there's one down. Here's Gaviria's stats: a 3.84 ERA, 13 appearances with 12 starts. He's 5-3, 75 innings pitched. He's allowed 39 runs on 72 hits, 32 earned with 46 strikeouts and only 14 walks. Now 15 with the walk to Melton to open the game.
And Daniel Gaviria's success this season is a big part in testament to the defense here of the Wildcats. They've got 24 fewer errors than they did last season, lead the SWAC at a .970 fielding percentage, and he takes advantage.
Outside to Ty Hill, and it's 1-0. Hill leads the Tigers of Jackson State in pretty much every offensive metric. He's batting .394, 47 runs on 65 hits, 6 homers, 53 ribbies. Pitch low, and it's 2-0. Hill last night, 0 for 3 with a walk and 3 strikeouts, all against Nolan Santos. Fastball from Gaviria misses low 3-0, so Daniel struggling with his command a little bit here early in the first. There's a strike called by our home plate umpire, Darryl Cooper. Kalen Hamilton is at first base and Lance Barnes at third. Same crew that will umpire this whole series. They're just shuffling around. Runner goes, and it's ball 4 upstairs in a second walk of the inning. And Hill is aboard, so runners on first and second with 1 out. Here's Marcus Atterbury.
We've kind of seen 2 different Daniel Gavirias at certain points throughout this season. Of course, early on, his first ever start with the Wildcats was a complete game shutout. Just an outstanding job by him. Earned him a SWAC Pitcher of the Week honor. But we've also seen games like this. And it'll be important to get the correct Daniel Gaviria ahead of the tournament next week.
First pitch to Atterbury is inside and low, but it's called a strike by Cooper, and it's 0-1. Atterbury, the designated hitter, batting .312, 32 runs on 34 hits, 5 homers, and 28 RBIs. Gaviria, a much slower and more patient pitcher than we saw Santos yesterday. So we could see a bit of a longer game today if he goes a significant time into this contest. Yesterday's game taking just over 2.5 hours.
At the same time, as Gaviria hunts for contact all the time, we may see some quick innings, some 1-2-3s, if he can induce the kind of soft contact that he wants.
He's up 0-2 over Atterbury. First and second, 1 man out. Gaviria deals. Breaking ball hit foul off the end of the bat into the Budweiser bullpen down the right field line. Count holds. Atterbury, a grad student from Monticello, Mississippi. Gaviria winds and fires. Upstairs, 1-2.
Command is the key to Gaviria's game. He's not going to blow you away with velocity. He's not going to blow you away with any kind of insane breaking stuff. But if he can pick those corners and he can really put you in a spot where all you can do is make that soft contact, he can eat lineups alive.
The 1-2, chop foul, count holds 1-2. He's got the Nestor Cortez-esque mustache.
Nestor Cortez, good friends with head coach Jonathan Hernandez, both from down in Hialeah.
And a lot of Wildcat players are from down that way. A lot of recruiting routes set by Hernandez when he was a junior college coach. Big cut and miss. Runners go. Both safe on the double steal, but it is a second strikeout of the inning for Gaviria, and now it's second and third with 2 away.
Not sure.
And that's the end of the inning.
What the call
I'm not
was
sure
there.
why.
We'll find out on live stats in a minute, but the ump made some sort of hand signal and
Well, that's it. We're going to take a break to figure out what's going on, but apparently no runs, no hits, 2 left. We go to the bottom of the first. Jackson State nothing. Wildcats coming to bat. You're listening to Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the bottom of the first, still none the wiser as to how the top of the first ended. We thought there were only 2 outs, but everybody walked off the field. We still wait for confirmation about what's going on, but we will move swiftly onward. Austin Campbell, the graduate student from Starkville, Mississippi, and the transfer from East Mississippi Community College, toes the hill for Jackson State today. Luis Tuero stands in. He started the 4-run first with a single to right field last night. First pitch from the lefty, Campbell, is low and away. Tuero batting .347. It's good for second on the team. He chops this one to second. Guy throws to first in time. That's Colby Guy, the only fresh face in the lineup today for Jackson State. There's one away. Austin Campbell is 2-1 in 10 appearances with 3 starts. He's got a .474 ERA. Only 19 innings pitched for Campbell. He's given up 13 runs on 24 hits, 10 earned, striking out 12 and walking 6. And here's Garrett Chun to the plate. A little bit of a stop and start from Campbell on the mound as the umpire was not set. Now he throws the first pitch, low and away, ball 1 to Chun. Garrett last night scored 2 runs on no hits, was walked twice, and reached on an error. This time he fires it out to right field. Saavedra moves over, makes the catch in there quickly. 2 away.
And Mike, I know you're trying to read stats for guys in between, but Campbell is working faster than anyone I think I've ever seen. He's not taking any signs. He's up and ready the second the ball gets back in his glove. His delivery is lightning fast. It's almost fast pitching. There's no way that it would fly in the major leagues, obviously, but he is just whipping it right now. He's already ready to throw the pitch right now, and Hall's not ready to go.
Now we're already to Highland Hall with 2 outs in the bottom of the first, and, well, we've been playing the inning for about 2 minutes. Hall, the best pitcher or the best hitter on the team by average, takes a strike on the inside corner, 1-1.
It's 2 seconds between pitches.
Hall, grounder to short. Nice diving stop by Gomez from his knee. Bouncer to first in time. 1, 2, 3 go the Wildcats on about 6 pitches. And that's it. We go to the top of the second. No score between the Wildcats and Jackson State. You're listening to Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the second inning of play. No score here between Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman. Cesar Saavedra leads off for the Tigers. Saavedra hit in the 9-hole last night, up to batting 5th today. First pitch strike outside corner from Gaviria. Saavedra, a .333 hitter, 27 runs on as many hits, and he's now got 28 hits, as that's probably going to be a double down the left field line. Goes all the way and nestles itself into the corner. Payne, you're going to have to dig it out and fire in, but a opening salvo from Jackson State. They have 3 runners in the first 2 innings, and this one is a leadoff double.
I think the Wildcats there are lucky that one didn't end up as a 3-bagger. Kind of like you said, Mike, weaseled its way right into the little danger zone right there in that corner, and some of these odd angles out here in the jack, but the runner holds up at second.
Here's Brett Mersman batting .314, 25 runs on 43 hits, 2 homers, and 33 RBIs. Jackson State set up, runner on second, nobody out. Long hold from Daniel Gaviria. Now he puts the ball in the glove. And fires from the stretch. Big cut and miss on a check swing. Count 0-1. Last night, Mersman was 1 for 4, had a single, and struck out twice. He's got a chance to put the Tigers on the board. Popped up from a bunt. Racing back is Escobar. He can't make the play. It's just a loud strike, and it's 0-2. We've seen some adventurous bunting this season, Bryce, either from balls barely staying fair or foul or popping straight up in the air. We saw Olesen almost beat out a bunt that went 3/4 of the way down the first base line last night.
Yeah, Olesen's bunt last night was one of the hardest I've seen here. But, yeah, with that long backstop, you get a lot of runs like that where guys just try to get back on it, but it's so much space and so little time to get there, and they kind of end up falling like that.
Gaviria ahead in the count 0-2 to Mersman. Checks the runner at second, now the pitch. Strike 3 called. Mersman knew it. He went right down the middle, and Brett watched it go. Third strikeout for Gaviria on the day. Second one looking. And there's one away in the inning. Here's Marshall Louise, the catcher.
Gaviria's season high in strikeouts is 7. He did that twice. One time against Valley, another against Longwood. But he's hunting for him today.
Here's Marshall Louise. First pitch to the lefty is a strike on the outside. And it's 0-1. Louise, the catcher, batting .267, 37 runs on 40 hits, no homers, 17 ribbies. And he swings and chops this one to short. Garcia fields and fires for out number 2, but Saavedra moves to third, so the go-ahead run is 90 feet away for the Tigers.
That kind of play right there is going to be Gaviria's bread and butter today and into the tournament. When you've got 2 rock-solid middle infielders like Colton Olesen and Jeremy Garcia, that's what you want to look for.
Now the shortstop Omar Gomez, a .256 hitter, 17 runs on 20 hits, 1 homer, 9 RBIs. First pitch, away outside in the opposite batter's box to the righty, 1-0. The 1-0 is downstairs, 2-0. Omar Gomez was one of the more successful at the plate last night. 1 for 3 with a walk, but that walk was about a 12-pitch walk. It was the beginning of the end for Nolan Santos. After that, he gave up 2 singles in a row and left the game shortly thereafter. Very patient at the plate. Can battle back in counts. He's ahead 2-1, and he hits this one high in the air to left center. Moving over Chun, lazily sticks out the glove to make the catch. The opening double from Devedra does not come back to haunt the Wildcats. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the second. No score between the Wildcats and the Tigers here on the Cat Eye Network. Bottom of the second we go. Wildcats looking for some offense. They were set down 1-2-3 very quickly in the first by Austin Campbell, who fires a first pitch strike on the inside corner to Boris Pena. We'll see if Campbell maintains his rapid pace. He's already ready to go. The 0-1 hits Pena in the leg, and the Wildcats have their first base runner.
And that's kind of what you'd expect, the kind of pitches you'd expect you might see when he's working that fast. We saw Wildcats hitting coach Jose Carballo come out and talk to the officials between innings, and I think that was probably the subject of conversation. But the Wildcats and a guy like Moya's won for it to really establish himself, and you have to wait on my time to throw a pitch.
Robert Moya, check swing ball low, and it's 1-0. I never got to Pena's stats. I'll get to that next time. Moya batting .320. 46 runs on 58 hits, a team-high 7 homers and 43 RBIs. This could be a double play ball, though. Gomez to Guy to Mersman, and there are quickly 2 away. And now here's Manny Safrain. Wildcats haven't hit into a lot of double plays this year, but that one pretty costly. First pitch strike on the outside to Safrain. Manny getting a second straight start here at home. And usually that first base spot has been occupied by either Boris Pena or Robert Moya.
Of course, with the way Manny's been hitting the ball, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts some games there in the tournament.
He's behind 0-2 and gets plunked on the arm, so a second hit by pitch of the inning gives the Wildcats another base runner.
And if we see Campbell really succeed here tonight, I think the key is going to be to get a runner on base like this. He's clearly a tick slower when there's runners on base when he's pitching out of the stretch, just keeping an eye on that runner. He has a little bit longer of a windup. So I think that's going to be a key if the Wildcats struggle against him today.
With a runner on and 2 down, here's catcher Irvin Escobar. Had to take off his gear. He was about to get ready to go back and take the field after that double play. Escobar, first pitch swinging in the air to left. Bannon tracking it back towards the track. He makes the catch, and that'll end the inning. No runs, no hits, 1 left. We go to the 3rd inning of play. Still nothing on the scoreboard between the Tigers and the Wildcats here on the Cat Eye Network. To the top of the 3rd we go. Colby Guy leads off for Jackson State, the only player in the lineup for either team not to feature in yesterday's contest. Guy playing second base today in place of Miles White. Gaviria out for his 3rd inning of work. Ball inside on a fastball, 1-0. Guy batting .241, lowest in the starting lineup. And he hits this one high in the air behind second base. Olesen makes the catch, one away. So we do not get to hear Colby Guy's stats. Get to that next time.
You know, Mike, in a final weekend here, we see on the west side of the SWAC, I'm sure we'll talk about it throughout the night, there's some real shuffling going around. Texas Southern right now is down 10-5 to last place Alcorn.
First pitch to Jatavius Melton is low for ball one. Melton walked his first time up. Gaviria quickly into his windup. Deals. Strike inside corner.
Tigers have 6 errors in that game. They are tied with Southern at 15-10 in conference play right now.
And only 3 of those runs are earned for Alcorn, which is nuts.
So not only could Texas Southern drop from where they currently hold the 2 spot down to 3, but Prairie View is only a game behind in the 4 spot. So it's going to get really interesting, and who's to say who the Wildcats are going to face on Wednesday?
Inside ball 2. Escobar tried to frame it, but no dice from umpire Darrell Cooper. Now a 2-2 delivery. Low and outside, 3-2. First full count of the game for either team. Both teams have been aggressive swinging the ball early in counts. Chop back up the middle, and it's going to get off the glove of Gaviria and into center for a base hit for Melton.
So Olesen and Garcia there played both a little further away from second base than we've seen, but that ball was so hard hit, probably would have snuck through either way.
Little unlucky for Gaviria as that ticked right off the outside of his glove as he stuck it up there. Here's Daniel Bannon, struck out looking his first time up. And the first batter of the inning has reached base now in all 3 innings for the Tigers. Melton, the first inning with a walk, the third inning with a base hit, and then Cesar Saavedra led off the second with a double to left field. 2 straight pickoffs as Melton slides back in safely. Melton, the top stealer on this team by a large margin. 28 stolen bases on 35 attempts on the year. Now Gaviria comes home, gets a called strike outside corner to the righty, 0-1. From the stretch, the 0-1 is outside, 1-1. Bannon, a transfer from McCook Community College, hit .407 in 51 games in 2022, 5 homers and 51 RBIs. Another pitch low, 2-1.
Game 2 of doubleheader today between FAMU and Alabama State's going now. Top of the third, Bama State leads 3-0. If they win that game, the Wildcats will clinch that number 2 spot.
Looks like we're going to catch Melton, and a run down, but the throw to second is high and out of the reach of Garcia. So a stolen base for Jatavius.
It's kind of an interesting decision there by Gaviria to throw over to Sufrain when he saw the runner going. I think just kind of the quick pace of the way that play developed kind of went over to first to start, but that's how we have the runner over on second. Ball just didn't get to Olesen quick enough.
And this is how the Tigers are going to play this game. They're just going to try and get in the Wildcats' heads and be frustrating.
That's how you have to be, I think, after last night. Frustrating for them, of course. So a little bit of small ball, get on the board early and figure it out from there.
Bannon swinging that bright orange glove, and he hits this one softly in the air out towards short. A leaping catch by Garcia puts him away, and there's one down.
A little bit of flair there from Jeremy. Probably didn't need to jump, but I'm not going to knock anybody for adding a little pizzazz.
Here's Ty Hill, walked, stole a base in the first. As we still don't really know what happened at the end of the first inning when the Wildcats, after getting the second out of the inning, walked off the field, and everybody just said, okay, there's 3 outs now. Grounded to short. Long throw for Garcia in time. And there are 3 away. That's the end of the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the third. No score between Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman here on the Cat Eye Network. We head to the bottom of the third. Wildcats looking for something, anything, against Austin Campbell, who has been speedy and effective through the first 2 innings. He's hit 2 batters, but he set everybody else down, including getting a 6-4-3 double play in the middle.
Yeah, Mike, you don't usually think about baseball as that game of pace, but I really think the Wildcats need to force Campbell to play to their pace and not let him quick pitch him like he has been.
Colton Olesen takes a ball low and inside, 1-0. Olesen, a .311 hitter, 17 runs on 33 hits, 1 homer, 18 RBIs, batting in the 8th spot for the 2nd straight game. Takes a strike on the outside corner, 1-1. We've seen Colton all around the batting order, but mostly bats 9th or leadoff. Inside, has to jump back. Could have taken that one maybe for a hit by pitch, but
Campbell has to, I think, adjust the way he's throwing the ball. He's just really erratic right now, and not taking that time between pitches is not making it easier.
the 2-1 misses outside, 3-1.
I mean, this at-bat has really, for the most part, not really been competitive. I'm not sure I would take the bat off my shoulders here, and then like we saw, if we can get a runner on base, he's a tick slower out of the stretch.
Olesen decides to swing the bat and chops it the other way for a base hit to right field. First hit of the game for Bethune-Cookman.
So that's one of those situations. Solid pitch right down the middle. Hard to pass that one up. But I'm certainly going to make Campbell work out here if I'm the Wildcats. Don't fall too victim to being too aggressive when he's shown that he has a tendency to be not just a little bit outside, but pretty convincingly outside of the zone.
Here's Jeremy Garcia batting in the 9-hole. First pitch, a strike outside corner, and the Wildcat bench didn't like that call.
I think that one broke a little late after it crossed the plate, so looked a little worse in the catcher's glove.
The 0-1 bunted, pushed style to the left-hand side, charging his Hill. He makes the play, but it's a sac bunt, moves Olesen to second.
Both teams here kind of deferring to small ball early. With the way these two guys have gotten some soft contact on the mound, don't blame them for trying to push a run across.
Also, the ever-present wind, which was not a factor last night, is blowing in off the Tomoka River right to left and in towards the bleachers down the left field line. Could cause some trouble for fly balls out there. Luis Tuero back at it in the opposite batter's box, ball 1. Grounded out to second his first time up, did Luis. With Colton Olesen standing on second after the leadoff single and the sacrifice bunt by Garcia. Tuero rifles that one right back where it came from. Olesen gonna try and score. Here comes the throw to the plate. He is out by a mile.
Just kind of a late break from second there. Not sure, I didn't see the sign whether Carballo waved him in or not.
Oh, he did. Carballo waved him all the way around.
I thought when Campbell cut him off, he might be putting the play at home there in jeopardy, but didn't end up mattering.
So now 2 away with Tuero at first. Here's Garrett Shot. I mean, there's being aggressive, then there's being overly aggressive, and that was a little bit more of the latter than the former. And it might cost the Wildcats a run here. Tuero skips back to first as Campbell checks him. But they are getting bat to ball this inning. That's 2 base hits for the Wildcats. Chun flew out to center his first time out. Time called by the home plate umpire.
Tuero forgot to take off his elbow guard. Being helped out by Antoine Brown, assistant coach over there.
And a second straight pickoff. Would you be in favor of the 3 pickoff rule in being applied to college?
I'm not sure I have a strong opinion about it as we've seen it in Major League Baseball yet.
First pitch to home to Garrett Chun is upstairs 1-0.
It's kind of a weird rule because obviously once you reach that limit, it's kind of a free-for-all. You just go. It's a bit strange. It's one of the rules for Major League Baseball that I wasn't exactly as in favor of.
Ball low and outside 2-0.
But I think by the end of the Major League Baseball season, I'll probably concoct an answer. Right now, I would probably say no, just because I don't think it's been a huge detriment to the game, at least from what I've seen in the last few years.
Well, there's the third pickoff attempt to the AB. I haven't watched enough MLB baseball this year. I don't really usually get into it till about mid-June to July. Right now there's basketball and hockey going on that I could be spending my time watching. The 2-0 chopped sharply foul to the right-hand side, 2-1.
That's basketball, hockey, and college baseball on the Cat Eye Network.
Of course.
I believe you meant to say.
The most important college baseball on the Cat Eye Network. We will be bringing you all the Wildcat action from Atlanta, Georgia, as the Wildcats compete for the Southwestern Athletic Conference title next week, beginning Wednesday. You can find those broadcasts on the Cat Eye Network, and also, if you're around Daytona Beach, you can listen on 1380 WELE The Cat. The 3-1, outside and a walk to Garrett Chun, puts runners on first and second with 2 out.
Hey, if you're interested in listening to the hometown call next week, you can still catch the video of everything that goes on in Atlanta on the Swag Digital Network, but just mute that, pop on the Cat Eye Network audio in the background, sync it up, get the best of both worlds. Obviously, we can't provide you the video. Swag's got that one, but just sync them together and you can hear best of both worlds.
Highland Hall watches a breaking pitch right over the heart of the plate for strike 1. Highland grounded out to short to end the first inning. Campbell's 0-1, and Hall skies it to dead center. Moving over Melton. Makes the catch to end the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. We go to the 4th. Still no score between Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman right here on the Cat Eye Network. Already to the 4th inning we go. Just 40 minutes into this contest. We could be in for a quick one here today at the Jack. Jackson State has looked the more dangerous team on offense, but nobody as of yet has crossed the plate for both teams. Marcus Atterbury leads off for Bethune-Cookman. Or excuse me, for Jackson State. Struck out his first time up, lifts this one high in the air to left field and deep. Going back to the track, to the wall, it is foul. And I didn't see where the ball landed, but it must not have missed that pole by much.
It looked really foul off the bat, but then it's hard to tell from our angle up here, but seeing as we don't have any argument from the Jackson State coaching staff, they probably have the best angle at it over there, kind of parallel to where the ball came off the bat. But you're right, Mike. I could not have missed that pole by much.
Lance Barnes over at third base, very confident in that foul call, but the Wildcats avoid giving up the opening run of the game, and it's just a 1-1 count. Now it's a 1-2 count as Atterbury fouls it off. Just from look at it, Marcus, he's a big guy. He's got the power in his bat. Second on the team with 5 home runs, only falling behind Ty Hill's 6. Outside, 2-2. Atterbury listed at 6'1", 225. And he rockets this one to short, and it's past the diving glove of Olesen and into center field for a base hit.
It's kind of rare to see Olesen miss on a play like that. I'm not at all suggesting it's an easy play to make, but we're just so used to him spoiling us defensively at second that it's always rare to see one skip through. But a nice base hit. A lot of pace on that ball. Tough play to make.
That ball was a rocket off the bat. Olson tried to slide glove side back instead of glove side first. Maybe if he goes head first for that, he might get there, but that's a tough ask for any player to make. Here's a bunt from Saavedra, and he is safe as that bunt was perfect down the first base line, and there's 2 on with nobody out.
Yeah, the jack is a tough place to really lay down a perfect bunt. With that turf, the ball tends to kind of bounce and get a little more pace on it than maybe we're used to. We've seen a couple of hard bunts from the Wildcats in the last couple nights, but that one was perfect.
Here's Brett Mersman, struck out in the second, and Jackson State is set up. First and second, nobody out.
He's certainly been flirting with danger a little bit early in this one. Hasn't bit him yet. This is the Tigers' best shot they've had this afternoon.
Best shot they've had in the entire series so far. It's another bunt, popped straight up. Escobar dives, can't make the play.
Irvin Escobar is putting in some work back there today. Another one that's just really hard, if not impossible to make, just with how quick. It wasn't really that high. Give him the credit for the hustle play. It was interesting to see there, Luis Tuero was kind of lined up over towards the middle of the infield and ended up running around the runner and in front before that play developed.
I wonder if they were trying to bait a pickoff or something.
We'll see if we see it again. Probably won't hear because he's glued to that third base bag now. Interesting play call there, though.
Mersman bats .314, 25 runs on 43 hits, 2 homers, 33 RBIs. Would love nothing more than to give Jackson State their first lead of the series. Squared to bunt again. This time it is a ball.
We saw Jeremy Garcia do a similar thing. Looked like a squeeze play there. Kind of ran around and in front of the runner at second, while Tuero and Manny Sufrain really charged in for a potential bunt.
Well, maybe the play is, if it's a bunt, Escobar grabs it and throws to third, trying to get the lead runner. Time called, pitch clock violation. So the count now 2-1. Not many of those this year, but
I feel like it's been one of the few that we've caught as a pitch violation immediately. Sometimes there's been some confusion.
Squaring to bunt again. This time it will go foul. And the count 2-2. So now with 2 strikes, I don't expect Mersman to try and bunt. We've seen crazier things.
See, that time Garcia stayed at the bag at second instead of running over to third. Just be interesting to see kind of the logic behind that play.
We did see Escobar before that pitch call a different play. Step out in front of the plate. Big pitch here. 2-2 from Gaviria. High in the air on the infielder and just past it. Olson calls for the ball, makes the catch, and there's one away. That was a big out.
That's a tough break for Jackson State. That's probably the worst result there. Save for the strikeout. No dice. Runners will stay put.
Marshall Louise now up. Grounded out to short his first time up. Louise, a grad student from Surrey, British Columbia. So some international flair to this Jackson State team. Got players from the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Australia, now Canada. First pitch, strike on the inside corner from Gaviria.
It's always funny to me to imagine some of these international kids kind of ending up in Jackson, Mississippi. Just a funny difference in pace from what they're used to overseas, no matter where that is.
It all depends on how you recruit, where you recruit.
Definitely.
Hit off the end of the bat, foul. That'll make the Tomoka River.
And obviously, if they buy into the coaching staff and the overall, kind of plan and future and coaching and everything with Jackson State, you can sell anybody on anywhere. By no means suggesting that Jackson State's a bad place to end up, just very different than what you'd see overseas. It's Change of pace.
Jackson State, one of the better baseball programs in the SWAC. 13 straight seasons with a winning record for the Tigers. That will continue again this year as they're 27-22 overall coming into the game. Gaviria steps off to check the runner at second. No threat of a steal nor a pickoff. High in the air to right, long run for Highland Hall. He calls off Colton Olison, makes the catch, back to first. And they're going to call a really late balk on Gaviria. You could hear immediately after the hit that the Jackson State bench was calling for it. The umpires eventually do call it, so runners now on second and third.
Yeah, that would explain why the runner over there at third kind of just trotted over with no intent to head back when the ball was caught.
So it's been a tough inning for Gaviria. Pitch clock violation, now a balk after the first two runners got on with base hits. Second and third now one down. Infield playing way in. And the third pitch to Marshall Louise is away and outside, 1-2. The 1-2 chopped high in the air, foul straight back. Gaviria looking for something soft here or a strikeout. Now, if the ball's in play, do you go home with it?
I think the way this game's started and how tough runs have been to come by, I wouldn't put it past them.
The 1-2. Swinging a laser to right field. That is a foul ball. About 2 feet to the left, and that's a two-run double at least.
Just kind of shows you how big of a play that balk ended up being. You went from having 2 outs and the runners planted at first and second to a couple of feet away from a 2-run Jackson State lead.
Remember, the Tigers took 2 of 3 from Bethune-Cookman the first time these teams met, back in April.
The first series loss of the season, I believe, for the Wildcats at that point.
Wildcats won in 13 innings on Friday, then dropped a Sunday doubleheader. This one hit high in the air, foul, off the top of the clubhouse and left. A really long at-bat for Louise.
Some uncharacteristically hard contact against Gaviria.
And then lost both games of a doubleheader, 5-3 and 7-3. For the third time, here's the 1-2 from Gaviria. High in the air. That'll stay in the yard behind the plate. Escobar makes the catch. Third time's the charm for Irvin Escobar behind the plate, and there are 2 away.
Escobar finally got one high enough in the air that he had some time to get up on it. All the time in the world, get to stand and watch that come back in, but you know as well as I do, those plays by the net are always tough because especially with the wind today, you never really know if it's going to stay in, if it's going to kick off the net, but credit to Escobar for staying with it and making the play.
Now with second and third and 2 out, here's Omar Gomez. Flied out to center his first time up. Infield back to playing a normal depth with 2 away. First pitch, strike outside corner, 0-1. And once again, you have a little bit of a wide strike zone in the middle, just like last night. I think both pitchers yesterday really benefited from it. On the ground to third. Across the diamond, Sufrain stretches and makes the play. The Wildcats get away with it. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. Cats get out of a jam, and it's still scoreless as we head to the bottom of the 4th here at Jackie Robinson. You're listening to Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. Boris Pena leads off the bottom of the fourth for the Wildcats, who have survived some scares on the defensive side of things. Now look to open things up on the offensive end. First pitch inside on a fastball 1-0. Campbell quickly working again. Pena was hit by a pitch his first time up and then was caught in the middle of a 6-4-3 double play hit into by Robert Moya. Turns on this one and hits it a million miles, but foul.
We were talking over the break, Mike. It'll be interesting to see what kind of leash and how long Campbell's going to be in this game.
And that one is smoked to left field. That's at least a single. And Pena, not the quickest guy in the world, will just hold right there. So Morris is aboard, leadoff man on for the Wildcats. And now here's Robert Moya.
I think if you're Campbell, you can just get yourself into trouble pitching that quickly. You either have to have a routine set already, I'm going off speed and then fastball and then off speed or the like, but then you're so much more likely to leave pitches out over the middle like that.
Moya on the ground. This could be another double play. Third to second to first. It's another double play hit into by Robert Moya. This time it goes 5-4-3 and there's 2 outs.
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised to see Coach Hernandez come out here to try to have a chat with the official. I'm pretty sure the second baseman came off the bag before he, or maybe didn't even touch the bag at second.
Again, we have no replay. They're not going to overturn it.
Every coach kind of has to just do their due diligence, unfortunately.
And now Manny Safrain has the unenviable position of, once again, being up with 2 down after a double play by Moya. So Moya hit it 2 straight double plays. Unlucky for Robert. That second one maybe could have had arguments for both runners to be safe.
But the ground ball hit like that, I don't think Moya's going to take any solace in that.
Off the bat, that looked like it could have squeaked through into left field, but again, a nice defensive play by Ty Hill at third. The 2-1, Safrain drills this one to right field and deep. Back, track, wall. It is caught. Oh no, Saavedra dropped it. Saavedra had it in his glove, and he ran into the wall and dropped the ball.
It's an uncharacteristic miss from this outfielder of Jackson State in this series. That was a long run to corral that ball. It's tough to see from as far out as we are here when or how he dropped the ball, but it went from that ball looked gone as can be off the bat. I think Safrain got a little bit off of it from that wind kind of blowing in from right field.
Yeah, if the wind's not blowing in from right as hard as it is, that is gone. Saavedra had the ball in his glove, ran into the wall in the public sign down the right field line, and dropped it.
But Safrain still swinging the bat really, really well. We saw him get robbed of probably 2 hits last night, at least.
He's owed a little bit of luck.
He's gonna be a big part of the tournament run next week.
Here's Irvin Escobar now with a runner on second and 2 down. Breaking ball misses the zone 1-1.
Even at the worst of it, if you imagine Manny Safrain being able to be available as a pinch hitter in some games, I mean that's a big bat off the bench, even if he's not starting.
Campbell's 1-1, doesn't find the outside corner, 2-1.
But again, if Safrain is hitting the ball like this, I think your best offensive lineup probably has him at first, Moya in the DH spot, and then Pena out and left.
Chop to third. Hill quickly across the diamond, skips it to first. Nice scoop by Mersman, and the inning is over. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. We go to the 5th inning of play already here. No score between the Tigers and Wildcats on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the 5th. No score between the Wildcats and the Jackson State Tigers. Colby Guy, the 9-hole hitter, leads off for Jackson State. Popped out to Colton Olison behind second base his first time up. Daniel Gaviria is still out there on the hill for the Wildcats. 62 pitches for Gaviria. That'll be 63 that goes high and wide for ball one.
Meanwhile, Alcorn State and Texas Southern knotted at 10 each.
That was a 10-3 Alcorn lead at one point.
Alcorn State with 2 errors, Texas Southern with 6. Tigers come roaring back.
Gaviria misses inside count 2-1.
FAMU, on the other hand, still trailing 3-0.
Grounder past the diving glove of Suffrain, and another leadoff single for Jackson State. I think they've had the leadoff man aboard in every inning.
You said it in the break, Mike.
They have.
This game feels like it's on the precipice from both sides of kind of being broken open one way or the other. Gaviria's kind of been letting runners hang out on base, and Campbell's let up some really, really hard contact. Someone is going to score soon.
We just hope it's the boys in maroon and gold. Melton walked in the first, stole a bag, stranded on third. Singled in the third, stole a bag, stranded on second. And he squares the bunt this time. Down the first baseline, Suffrain throws to Olison for the out, but the sacrifice bunt moves Guy to second.
Nice play by Suffrain there to get in on that ball. Saw a similarly hit bunt earlier in the game, but Suffrain gets on that one, tracks that one down, and much needed first out.
The rare 3-4 put out. Here's Bannon. Struck out of the first, popped out to short in the sixth. Or popped to short in the third, excuse me. And he watches strike one down the middle. Both teams with a lot more offense in terms of hits than last night. We're only in the 5th inning. There's a strike in the count 0-2. And already Jackson State has 5 hits, Wildcats have 4 hits. Both teams managed 6 hits total last night. But somehow still no runs across for either quad. The 0-2, Bannon rips this one to short. Garcia, Johnny on the spot to make the throw. And they're 2 away.
I think Gaviria's done a good job this afternoon. He's not really missing a lot of spots. A lot of times I feel like it's been some of those low fastballs, ticking the high 80s, mid 80s that Jackson State's kind of got in on and been able to push it through for some ground ball singles. But he's hit his spots for the most part. But we know with the way he throws the ball, if he leaves anything over the middle, it can get taken advantage of.
Here's the danger man, Ty Hill, with a runner in scoring position and 2 down. Jackson State's been in this position a lot in the ball game. Hill rips this one foul outside of third. Wildcats with a win tonight clinch the number 2 seed in the East for the SWAC playoffs that are next week. Fastball upstairs and outside 1-1. The reason that's so important is you avoid Alabama State until potentially the finals. They're on the opposite side of the bracket. Another breaking ball just misses outside from Gaviria, 2-1.
It's going to be interesting next week, too, with Georgia Tech, the host of the SWAC tournament. They've got a short porch out in left field, 328 feet, compared to 391 in center.
Inside 3-1 now, Gaviria. Well, we've got a pretty short left field corner here at the Jack. 317 down the line.
It's overall, they've got, so it's, get you the exact dimensions here in a second.
The MAC, as their stadium is affectionately known. The 3-1 from Gaviria. Ball 4. Missed it outside to the righty, and Ty Hill has his second walk of the game. Now here's Marcus Atterbury with 2 on and 2 outs. Atterbury missed a home run by inches down the left field line to lead off the 4th, and now he bats in the 5th. With 2 down and 2 on once again. Same position that the Wildcats were in last inning. First pitch, strike on the inside corner, 0-1. Atterbury not happy with that call. Thought that was too low.
Excuse me, it's 3:28 down there on that short porch at Georgia Tech. Certainly going to affect the way these pitchers are approaching guys.
Gaviria misses outside, 1-1. Currently, Alabama State leads the East. Up the middle, this could be the opening run. Rounding third and coming home is Colby Guy. Here's the throw to the plate. It's too short, and they're going to catch. Oh, no. They tried to throw out Atterbury as he went back to first. Now a throw to third gets away. It's hot potato with the baseball. 2 runs for Jackson State on a throwing error.
That turned into an absolute disaster for the Wildcats. The ball, so Garrett Chun throws the ball in to Irvin Escobar. We see the runner from first is trying to head to second with a runner standing on second, so he's immediately hustling back. No one for the Wildcats is covering on to first. Colton Olison rushes back to try to cover the bag. The ball hits the batter in the head from Escobar, the runner over there at first. So that causes some commotion. Then Manny Sufrain airmails one over to Tuero. And after all that chaos, it's going to go 8-2, 3, 5. Well, there's no out recorded anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting one.
Well, it ends up with 2 runs for Jackson State. We mentioned it was only a matter of time till they broke the game open. Now the Tigers have a 2-0 lead. Here's Cesar Saavedra at the plate. Hits it high in the air to center field, not deep. Chun moves over, calls off all, makes the catch to end the inning. 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 left on. As we go to the bottom of the 5th, Wildcats now playing from behind. It's 2-0 Jackson State here on the Cat Eye Network. Colton Olison leads it off for the Wildcats in the bottom of the 5th. BCU now down 2-0 after Jackson State got 2 runs kind of sloppily in the top of the inning. We'll see what the Wildcats have in response on offense. Breaking ball misses outside from Austin Campbell. There is a pitcher throwing in the Jackson State bullpen inside 2-0. It's Dalen Caraway, so you think this might be the last inning for Campbell, especially since the Wildcats started to tee off on him last inning. Unfortunately, with no runs, the 5-4-3 double play not helping their cause. See if Olison, who is used to batting either leadoff or 9-hole can start us off here.
He has no intention of swinging the bat.
And he's watched 2 straight strikes down the middle. Now he's got to choke up and swing at something. And he chops it foul.
We saw 2 straight pitches in that at bat where Olesen had the bat. The first one, he had it on the ground as the pitch was thrown. The second was in an off stance, just no intention of swinging.
Olesen swings and hits it foul into the Wildcat dugout.
I think if we had the courtesy of a pitch chart here or a heat map, it's astounding that Campbell has been as successful as he has.
Ground ball just barely foul outside of third. Olesen stays alive again with 3 straight foul balls.
Because when Campbell has missed the strike zone, he's missed it pretty significantly. And the balls that have found the strike zone, I feel like have missed pretty much over the heart of the plate. But he's just pitching so quickly. I don't think the Wildcats are being able to kind of process pitch to pitch and work like they normally would.
This time inside, almost hit Olesen. Doesn't matter, he walks anyway. So the leadoff man aboard for the Wildcats for the 4th straight inning. So in every half inning except the Wildcats' bottom of the 1st, both teams have got the leadoff man aboard, and it's only 2-0.
It's been a lot of tension inning to inning here, but only one has resulted in runs so far.
Olesen dives back. That's close, but he's in there safely. Here's Jeremy Garcia. Grounded out to the third baseman Hill in the 3rd inning in his first plate appearance. Squares to bunt. Pulls it back and takes ball 1.
We talked about it in one of the breaks, Mike. I do think Campbell can be a good arm for Jackson State out of the pen in the tournament. Just a really great change of pace.
Bunted beautifully right in front of first. Campbell comes in to make the play. Moves Olesen over to second on the sacrifice bunt. Second one of those we've seen. First one was from Irvin Escobar back in the last inning.
Didn't Jeremy bunt over?
Oh, no,
Colton?
it was Jeremy Garcia.
Yeah.
So he has bunted Olesen over twice now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that strategy employed in the tournament. Those little 1-2 there.
So Luis Chuero grounded out in the first, singled in the third, and would have maybe scored Olesen, but it was a great relay from Jackson State to get him out at home. Breaking ball finds the inside corner for a strike, going 1. In a decision by Olesen and third base coach Jose Carballo that was maybe a little bit too aggressive. That's the closest the Wildcats have come to scoring in the ball game. Campbell deals and the ball gets by the catcher, as looked like that one stuck in his palm a little bit. Olesen trots over to third on the wild pitch.
I just hate to keep seem like I'm bashing Campbell, but that's only one example of when he misses. It's just so far out of the zone. His breaking ball doesn't really break a ton. It cuts in a little bit on right-handers, but still, here we are, scoreless.
And Caraway in the Jackson State bullpen has stopped throwing and is actually walking back in towards the dugout. The 1-1 outside in the opposite batter's box, 2-1. And again, if I'm Luis Chuero, unless he meatballs one, I'm not really taking the bat off the shoulder here. And Olesen's, of course, got to be ready in case the ball gets by Luis to the backstop. This time hit off the end of the bat. Foul. Shows you what I know. And the count 2-2.
Still think that pitch was a little inside on Tuera, but a competitive ball outside the zone, unlike most of what we've seen here today.
Runner at third, 1 down. The 2-2. Tuero hits it high in the air. That'll be playable for Hill in foul territory. Makes the catch, and there's 2 away.
Another one kind of sawed him off on the inside. Just kind of some tough swings for the Wildcats. Kind of some tough breaks. Probably want to leave the bat on your shoulder there if you're Tuero to do that over again. But it's a credit to Campbell for making the Wildcats think twice.
Here's Garrett Chun, flied out in the first, walked in the third. And a base hit will score. Colton Olesen, breaking ball, catches the outside corner, 0-1. Campbell once again works quickly and forces Chun to foul it straight back over the press box.
As this game has progressed, Campbell looks visibly winded out there. You can see him kind of gasping for air after every pitch, but he's just working so fast. He's not doing himself any favors.
He's 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. Here's the 0-2 upstairs. Try to get Chun to chase.
And he's still definitely throwing slower than he did with that pace in the first inning. It's clearly a second or two slower. And you see him shake off 2 pitches there.
The 2-1, which would be the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's the end of the inning. Chun strands Olison at third. No runs, no hits, 1 left. We go to the 6th, 2-0 Jackson State here on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the 6th inning of play, just an hour and 15 minutes into this contest. 2-0 Jackson State lead. Here's Brett Mersman to lead off. Mersman struck out in the 2nd, popped out to 2nd in the 4th. First pitch, strike outside corner 0-1.
It's pitch number 80 from Gaviria. 3 strikeouts in the first 2 innings. He doesn't have any.
Pablo Torres working in the Wildcat bullpen, so you think maybe either way this is the end of the line for Gaviria. And as many times happens in the SWAC, the entire complexity of a game can change once the starters leave and the bullpens take over. Long look in from Gaviria. Here's the 1-2. Upstairs 2-2.
And this is a Daniel Gaviria type game today. I mean, this is what he's going to give you into the tournament. A couple of runs, but he's going to give you some solid distance, a quality start.
Bounce to the plate. Count runs full 3-2, and Wildcats have just been unable to figure out Austin Campbell on the other side, and again with some good defense from Jackson State behind him. 2 double plays for the Tigers. That's been the difference in the ball game. Mersman up the middle, base hit. And for the 6th straight time, the leadoff man is on for Jackson State.
That's certainly the one part of the game today that Gaviria will want to clean up heading to Atlanta next week. Because otherwise, he may be on the hook for the loss unless the Wildcats can turn the tide here, but certainly wouldn't blame him for the loss today.
Catcher Marshall Louise bats now. Louise grounded to short in the 2nd. Runner goes as the ball gets to the backstop. Louise, again, grounded out in the 2nd, popped out behind the plate in the 4th. And the pitch was scored a ball. Jonathan Hernandez says that Louise swung at it, and now the umpires are going to converse. I was not looking, so I can't really tell either way.
I was watching the runner, too. That's the 7th passed ball from Irvin Escobar this season.
Did not go, says the umpiring crew, and count 1-0. Scored a pass ball, puts Mersman on 2nd. Nobody out here in the top of the 6th. Gaviria winds and fires. Louise squared to bunt. Pitch was called a strike.
FAMU climbing back into the game. It's 7-3 now in the bottom of the fifth. FAMU has a runner on first with 2 outs.
We watched that game happening in Tallahassee with Ernest. Bunted, third base side foul. Count goes to 1-2. If Florida A&M loses that game, no matter what the result here, the Wildcats would clinch the number 2 seed in the East. If they win and the Wildcats lose, well, then it gets interesting. Because we'd need the exact same thing to happen tomorrow. Either the Wildcats win or the Rattlers lose. If somehow the Rattlers sweep Alabama State, we drop 2 of 3, then we'd drop to the 3 seed, and things could get interesting.
I think in that scenario, it would come down to that game the Wildcats haven't played against Alabama A&M, which could very well have to be made up, which would get really interesting.
1-2 the count. On Louise, here's the pitch. Outside, 2-2.
And if we check in over on the West, Southern before this weekend had 3 games that they had to for sure make up. How that's going to happen logistically, I don't know.
The 2-2 inside, hit high in the air, foul territory, first base side. Suffrain moving over, and it's just over the net behind the Jackson State dugout. Louise stays alive at a 2-2 count. Wildcats looking to finish the season strong. Have won 6 of their last 7 conference games. 7 of the last 8 if you count last night's win. The 2-2. Breaking ball. Misses outside. Louise does not go for it. Count runs full again.
If the Alabama State-Florida A&M game holds as it is right now, it's 7-3. Tomorrow will be an interesting game for the Wildcats.
The 3-2. Gaviria puts it over the heart of the plate, chopped towards Olison at second. He fires to get Louise, beats him by half a step. The runner advances, and there's one gone.
And I say tomorrow will be interesting, not that it has any real implications at that point, but that, you know, it's always tough to end the season on a loss. You're always going to try to win the ball game, but you'll probably see a lot of bench players, a little unfamiliar faces, specifically on the mound.
Omar Gomez will come to the plate, and Daniel Gaviria may be done for the day as Coach Hernandez walks to the mound, and Pablo Torres will trot in from the first base side bullpen to take over on the hill. Gaviria obviously not really happy with his performance. Takes the cap off, sulks to the bench.
Definitely showing some signs of frustration out there on the mound as Coach Hernandez made the walk out there. But again, I think this is kind of the outing that you expect from Daniel Gaviria. Hit a little harder than we might think that he would from game to game. Let up some more base runners than maybe we're accustomed to see. But that's kind of what you expect to get when you're talking about a guy who's really hunting for those ground balls. It kind of just comes with the territory. Sometimes guys see the ball well. And today, Jackson State has seen the ball pretty well with 7 hits so far in this one off of Gaviria. But that's kind of the price you pay. But I think overall the Wildcats will be happy with a performance like that if this was the tournament. And with Gaviria, you're always, you know, looking for a little more out of that as well. We've seen him have some really stellar outings. He's had the strikeouts up in some of his other appearances this season, but can go either way. But I think overall Gaviria is a guy you're going to rely on pretty heavy, and you probably expect pretty good things for going into Atlanta next week.
Turning our attention to Pablo Torres. He is 1-2 in 12 appearances with 4 starts, with a 7.39 ERA. In 31 2/3 innings pitched, he's given up 29 runs on 35 hits, 26 earned, with 42 strikeouts and 24 walks. He's allowed 3 doubles, 2 triples, and 5 home runs. Opponents are batting .287 against him. And he is given the nod by Coach Hernandez to try and get out of this jam. Runner on third, 1 out. Wildcats are trying to avoid going down by more than 2.
Pablo Torres is going to be a big name to watch in the tournament. He very well could be one of the first long relief options for the Wildcats out of the pen. I'd imagine he'd be on the short list of a starter if things went south and the Wildcats end up in a loser's bracket and start to really play into that side of the schedule where you really have to work your way back to the championship game if you fall early. But he's shown some real flashes this season of of some excellent play, giving the Wildcats some distance when needed.
He's going to give Jackson State a different look than they saw with Gaviria today. Gaviria slower, more methodical, maybe touches the high 80s with the fastball. Torres, he'll just try and blow stuff by you up in the mid-90s.
Yeah, he really flashed some stuff before the season. He's got some velocity on that fastball, and he's not afraid to use it.
Gomez bats now, the shortstop for Jackson State. Flied out to center in the second, grounded out to third in the fifth. And he chops the first pitch from Torres, foul 0-1. Gomez, a senior from Arroyo, Puerto Rico. A career Jackson State Tiger. Hit 201 a season ago. 26 RBI. Squares to bunt, suicide squeeze play. It rolls all the way through to Olison, who will tag Gomez out at first, but the job is done. Mersman scores from third, and it's 3-0 Jackson State.
Well, we're going to talk about this one here. Gomez arguing that Manny Sufrain got in the way of his base path there and impeded him from getting to the bag. He's still standing over there on first. I'm not sure if that means the initial call was that he's safe at first, or if he's standing over there in anticipation that that will be the call, but we're going to find out here in a second.
I'm pretty sure that the first base umpire, Kalen Hamilton, signaled that he was out.
I thought so too. This could go either way. Manny Sufrain certainly, you could argue, got in the way of the base path, trying to run over and make the play on the ball. We'll see what the call is here. It's been a long chat.
3 umpires talking about it. This would be a tough blow for Bethune-Cookman if the out does not stand. If the season ended before today's game started, the Wildcats would play Southern in their first game in the tournament in the 2 East versus 3 West matchup. And the umpire is now walking back to Johnny Hernandez, and they're going to call him safe at first.
Of course, Coach Johnny's going to have something to say about that, but I don't think that we'll see that run taken off the board. Meanwhile,
I'm not sure how to score that. Is that an error?
Probably interference.
Interference?
Well, either way, out in the Texas Southern Alcorn game, the Tigers have pushed their lead to 13-10 now. Bottom of the 8th with 2 outs.
So now there's a runner aboard with just 1 out, a run in already for the Tigers. It's 3-0 after Mersman scored on the suicide squeeze bunt by Omar Gomez. He's called safe at first on an interference call from Sufrain. And now here's the 9-hole hitter, Colby Guy. Guy popped out to shortstop in the first, led off the 5th by singling, and eventually came around to score on that wild play, the single by Atterbury, which ended up in all kinds of crazy ball movement and error and an error. The 0-1, chop foul 0-2.
Back-to-back fastballs for Torres. We'll see how long it takes for the Tigers to really adjust to the probably 10 or so miles an hour extra on that fastball. We saw the batter way behind on that one, Guy.
Colby, a sophomore from Chester, South Carolina, swings and misses, trying to check his swing but could not hold back. And it's the first strikeout for Wildcat pitching since the first inning. And there are now finally 2 away, and here's Jatavius Melton. Walked in the first, singled in the third, and grounded out 3-4 in the 5th.
There's another fastball from Torres there, and Melton way behind it. It's going to take a minute before they catch up to it. It's a stark contrast from what we saw from Gaviria.
Melton, a senior from Natchez, Mississippi. Transfer from Mississippi Delta Community College, wearing the long dreads down the back. Swings and misses at a fastball upstairs, and it's 0-2. Torres a strike away from getting out of this inning. Long look in for Pablo. Now he comes set. With Gomez leading off first. Gomez goes. Here's the throw. And he's safe as the tag was whiffed by Olesen.
Yeah, Olesen seems to think that he made the out there, but it certainly looked from up here, Mike. I agree. Kind of just a swing and a miss with the glove.
Jackson State likes to steal a lot more than Bethune-Cookman does. 80 stolen bases on 103 attempts before today, and they have 3 or 4, depending on how you want to score it in this ball game. Torres ahead of Melton, 1-2. Here's the pitch. Hit off the end of the bat, foul into the screen. Count holds 1-2. Jackson State has won their last 4 straight conference series and have really picked it up after a slow start. Torres, calls time, steps off. Big cut and miss from Melton, and that ends the inning. 2 straight strikeouts from Torres, but not before Mersman scores on a leadoff single. And the the interference rule gets him home. 3-0 Jackson State as we head to the bottom of the 6th here on the Cat Eye Network. Both starters are now out of the game as Dalen Caraway takes the mound for Jackson State to begin the home half of the 6th inning. Dalen, 3-0 in 25 appearances. He's got a 7.06 ERA. In 43 1/3 innings pitched, he's given up 37 runs on 40 hits, striking out 36 and walking 34. He's given up 6 doubles, 2 triples, and 5 home runs. Opponents batting .252 against him. Here's Highland Hall. Hall 0 for 2, grounded to short in the first, popped out to center in the third. Both of those times he ended the inning. So it's been kind of an unlucky day for Highland. Been kind of an unlucky day for the entire Wildcats squad at the plate.
Just now kind of a different kind of arm they saw in the starter Campbell. It's going to be kind of make or break here how they look against this relief corps for Jackson State. We'll get a pretty good idea how the rest of this game's going to go these next 3 outs.
Last night, Brandon Haston came in relief to begin the 7th inning, to begin the 8th inning, and immediately gave up a run on a hit and an error. So
Womble was outstanding starting for Jackson State, minus the first inning.
Hall pops this one sky high on the infield. Hill will call everybody off and make the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out. And you can tell that the Jackson State bench is fired up for this one. They're making noise.
Been doing it all night.
Trying to gas their guys up both in the field and at the plate. And they've got all the momentum right now. The Wildcats have not proven that they can get on base and score runs here. Here's Boris Pena. Been one of the more successful Wildcats at the plate today. As we see Caraway really throwing that ball. Don't have a pitch speedometer up here, but looks like it might touch the 90s. First pitch was a strike, the 0-1. Pena hammers this one to left, but not really any trouble for Bannon, who makes the catch. And 3 pitches down, there are 2 away.
Obviously, the pacing of the way that Caraway throws the ball is a complete contrast in what we saw from the starter, but he's got a very interesting delivery. He starts by kind of towing the very right edge of the rubber, and he almost looks off balance when he throws the ball, but he does fire it in there with some velocity, no doubt.
Here's Robert Moya. He's hit it at 2 double plays today. No chance of doing that now with the bases empty. Swings and misses at the first pitch, 0-1. But with Pena on first in the second, he hit into a 6-4-3 double play. And with Pena on first in the fourth, he hit into a 5-4-3 double play. Swings and misses again, and it's 0-2.
And incorrectly last night, we said that Robert Moya switched his walk-up song to Girls Just Want to Have Fun. That was actually an initiative from the head coach, Jonathan Hernandez. Wanted to try to add a little bit of flair to, like we said, what had kind of become a stale end of the season, trying to get the guys a little more excited. We saw a stare in and about his 3rd at bat last night from Moya up to the press box, kind of giving us the evil eye, but went right back to the dugout and heard all about it from his head coach.
Last night, Moya just 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He did have a 2 RBI double in the first inning and score himself, but after that, KKK.
Yeah, we thought that one last night was going to get real ugly after the first inning, but the Wildcats kind of put in cruise control. Of course, credit the Jackson State starter as well.
And if you really think about it, after that first inning last night, the Wildcats have nothing for almost 2 games.
They didn't even get a hit until that 8th inning run, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Bats have gone quiet for kind of the first time in a couple of weekends. We saw them obviously hit really well at FAMU last weekend and then Orlando on Tuesday night.
Moya hit off the hands, diving grab by Mersman to end the inning. The fantastic defense by Jackson State continues. 3 up, 3 down for the Wildcats. We head to the 7th. 3-0 Jackson State here on the Cat Eye Network. To the top of 7 we go. Daniel Bannon leads off. Struck out in the first. Flied out to short in the third. Grounded out to short in the fifth. First full inning of work for Pablo Torres in relief of Daniel Gaviria. Torres faced the final 3 batters of inning number 6. The 1-0 off the end of the bat foul, the bright orange bat that Bannon is using.
And as we continue to keep eyes on the Florida A&M Alabama State game, it's now 7-4 still in favor of the Hornets. With 2 outs, the Rattlers have runners on first and second.
Bannon grounded to second. Olesen, easy money for the out. 1 away. What inning are they in by chance in the FAMU game?
Bottom 6. Probably getting tired after a 14-inning marathon in game 1. God bless the staff out there, statting the game and everything else that's involved, hanging out for a long day of baseball.
Wildcats hoping the Hornets hang on to get that automatic qualification for the 2nd seed. As we've mentioned, if FAMU ends up winning that game, it gets interesting. Fouled onto Escobar's helmet by Ty Hill. And the umpire will walk out to Torres to give Escobar some time to recover. Hill walked in the first, walked and scored in the 5th.
You said it in one of the breaks earlier, Mike. If you're the Wildcats, you don't really, if you can, want to enter the tournament via someone else's loss. You'd certainly rather do it on your own win. Still time to do that today and tomorrow afternoon.
There are still time. Excuse me, I'll start that over. There is still time for what Daryl Natil describes as the cardiac cats to make an appearance tonight.
First weekend of the season, Wildcats had back-to-back walk-off wins here against Longwood.
Big cut and miss from Hill, count 1 and 2. Of course, those were the 2 games I didn't call of that series because I was over at Moore Gymnasium doing basketball. I got the loss.
Everybody loves crossover season.
Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball didn't break. Missed upstairs and in. 2 and 2.
It's hard for Torres to go away from that fastball. Jackson State still shown no real signs of timing it yet.
Big punch out from the home plate umpire Daryl Cooper. And Ty Hill down on strikes. 2 away.
Torres can hit those spots consistently with that fastball. There's not a lot of bats in this conference that can keep up with that, especially when you're ticking the outer corner, the lower edge, the high fastball for the strikeout pitch. You mix that in with some solid off speed, and Pablo Torres, just a freshman, bright future ahead of him here in Daytona Beach. 4th strikeout
of the series already for Ty Hill, was set down 3 times via the strikeout by Nolan Santos last night, 3 of his 11. Did he have 13? No, he had 11. Overall, the Wildcats had 13.
Pair of them from Dale Machad, and a really great relief outing for him last night.
Already 1 strike on Marcus Atterbury via foul ball. Here's the 0-1. Misses inside. Atterbury struck out in the first, singled and was stranded in the 4th, singled and was stranded in the 5th, but that single allowed the 2 runs to score. Colby Guy from 3rd, and then Hill all the way from 1st on the error. Atterbury lifts this one high in the air, foul into the Budweiser bullpen down the right field line. Unlike a lot of other days of the Jack, the wind has been very consistent tonight, blowing in from right field. A lot of the times it swirls, it'll change up inning to inning. 1-2, Atterbury skies this one, foul territory right-hand side, and it will tick the net. Count holds again. Might have thought Sifrain had a play on it.
Make it 7-5 now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Alabama State clinging to that lead. Up top of the bottom of the 6th just ended. We'll go to the 7th now. The Rattlers still got some work to do. Certainly keeping it interesting out in Tallahassee.
Wildcats looking for their first 1-2-3 inning on defense of the game. Hit sharply towards short. Garcia long throw crosses body. 1-2-3. Go the Tigers. To the bottom of the 7th we go. Jackson State still leads 3-0. You're listening to Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. Manny Safrain leads off the 7th for Bethune-Cookman, still looking for some offense, down 3-0 to Jackson State. Safrain, first pitch swinging, high in the air to shallow left. Gomez moves over from his shortstop spot to make the catch. 4 straight pop-out/flyouts for the Wildcats.
Manny Safrain in well need of some luck at the plate. Got robbed of a home run by the wind earlier in this one. Got 2 hits stolen from him last night.
He did have that double to deep right field that popped out of Saavedra's glove. Here's Irvin Escobar now with 1 down. Caraway still on the hill for Jackson State. I've noticed as the Wildcats have gotten later into this game without scoring and without really offering much of a threat, they've started to go back to swinging early in counts and being super aggressive. Of course, as I say that, Escobar takes the first 2 pitches, count 1-1.
I think that's probably standard for a lot of baseball squads. You kind of get a little frustrated and try to make something happen, manufacture something.
Escobar watches another one, strike inside corner, 1-2.
But that kind of approach would get frustrating for viewers and fans going into the tournament when you just see guys swinging and a lot of quick innings.
Up the middle, bouncing ball, and it gets through the glove of Guy and into center. Nobody covered second base. Eventually, the center fielder runs in and holds Escobar at first. First hit of the game for Escobar. He previously flied out to left and grounded out to third. Now here's Colton Olison, who's been on twice, singled in the third, was caught at home trying to stretch 1 base into 2, and then walked in the 5th, got around to third on a sacrifice bunt, a wild pitch, and then ended up being shredded there by Garrett Chun's strikeout. First pitch from Caraway in the dirt, 1-0.
We've seen a lot of bunting from this part of the order in this game. I'm surprised we didn't see Olison flash it there.
We've seen 2 sacrifices from Jeremy Garcia to move Olison over, which if Olison gets on with 1 out, wouldn't be surprised to see Garcia do it again. Fastball outside, 2-0.
Jeremy Garcia, unfortunately, the last couple weekends has really struggled with runners on base. He's been on the wrong side of a few ground outs, runners, bases loaded particularly.
There was one game against Alabama A&M, I think it was the Friday game. Wildcats still won the game 11-0, but it could have been a lot worse because he left the bases loaded twice in the same game, Garcia. I think he struck out once and grounded out once. A 3-0 to Olison, doesn't take the bat off his shoulder, and heads down to first. Third straight plate appearance for Colton, third straight reach of base.
Let's see here if the bunt is on for Garcia, if he swings away.
It was really funny. Olesen expected the home plate umpire, Darryl Cooper, to call that a strike.
Yep.
And he didn't, and he waited and waited and eventually tossed his bat back and trotted to first. And no better time than now for the Wildcats. 2 on, 1 out. And here is Jeremy Garcia. See if they'll have him bunt or swing away. 2 sacrifice bunts in his 2 previous plate appearances this evening. Doesn't show it that time. The strike is called outside corner. Sun hasn't even set yet after this 6 p.m. start. So we're already in the bottom of the 7th. Garcia swings and pops it up. Foul territory, left-hand side. Hill makes the catch, and there are 2 away.
Jeremy Garcia just continuing to struggle a little bit at the plate. It's been interesting swapping him with Olesen in the lineup to put him in the 9 spot and Olesen in the 8th or even the 7th.
Here's Luis Tuero, grounded out in the first, singled in the 3rd, popped out in the 5th. With Irvin Escobar on 2nd and Colton Olesen on 1st, 2 outs here in the 7th. Big spot for Tuero, who is 2nd on the team in batting average at .347. First pitch low, 1-0. The Wildcats, you mentioned the 2 walk-off wins early in the season, but have kind of lacked that clutch hitting gene down the stretch. They've won a lot of their games either going away and lost some games because they couldn't get timely hitting. This time up the middle. Nice play by Gomez, who flips to Guy to end the inning on a fielder's choice. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. We go to the 8th inning of play. 3-0 Jackson State here on the Cat Eye Network. Cesar Saavedra leads off the top of the 8th inning for Jackson State. They have a 3-0 lead here, looking to even this series with Bethune-Cookman. Final regular season series of the season for both of these squads. First pitch from Torres is outside and low, ball 1. Saavedra doubled in the 2nd, stranded on 3rd, singled in the 4th, stranded on 2nd, and popped out to center in the 5th. That was a decently productive night at the plate for him. Last night was hit by a pitch and then struck out and flied out twice. The 1-1 misses upstairs, 2-1 from Torres.
Get you some scores from elsewhere around the SWAC here in this half inning.
Torres, as you mentioned, just a freshman from Orlando. Saavedra squares to bunt. The pitch goes low, count 3-1. prepped at Central Point Christian Academy, a school with a fantastic record of athletics. They won the Sunshine State Athletic Conference State Championship in volleyball this year, a game I had the pleasure of commentating back in October. Saavedra takes ball 4, heads down to first, leadoff walk.
Of course, we saw earlier today Florida A&M beat Alabama State in the first game 5-4. Alabama A&M took the second game of that 3-game series against Mississippi Valley State at home 4-3. Grambling State, the 1 seed in the West, took down Prairie View 6-2 on the road today.
Torres misses upstairs with his first pitch to Brett Mersman. Mersman struck out in the second, popped out to Olison in the fourth, singled and scored in the sixth. Strike right down the middle. Saavedra thought about stealing, but then heads back to first. Saavedra just 8 of 10 on stolen base attempts this year, not someone they like to steal very often. Spin it a throw back to first. Caesar slides in safely. The only player that Jackson State really likes to steal with is Jatavius Melton. As Torres preps for the 1-1. Chop foul. Almost hit us in the booth. Flashed right past our window, 1-2. Melton, coming into the game, 28 of 35 on stolen bases. Nobody else has more than 14 attempts for Jackson State. Another long look in from Pablo Torres. And he deals the 1-2. This time the runner goes. Throw down to second base. He is out by a mile, finally. Escobar throws his hands in the air and says, "We got one, thank God." The count is 2-2 to Mersman, and now there's one away on the catch stealing.
Did kind of feel like Escobar was due for one. Not every throw necessarily has been pretty, but there's been enough close bang-bang plays. About time the Cats got one.
Mersman sharply up the middle. Perfectly positioned is Garcia, who throws him out at first, 2 away. Nice job on the defensive positioning there by the coaching staff.
Elsewhere in the conference, Texas Southern did finish off a 14-10 victory over Alcorn, avoiding a little bit of disaster out there today.
11 straight runs did the Tigers. They were down in that game 10-3.
Of course, we'll continue to monitor that Alabama State game. No change since the last time. Only been 1 out, and that's 7. Not sure if there's a delay.
First pitch, a swinging strike from Marshall Louise with 2 gone here in the 8th.
And the only score we don't have is Southern and Arkansas Pine Bluff. They don't have live stats available, and the video's behind a paywall.
Laced to right field, and Highland Hall dives and makes the catch to end the inning. Highland says, "Tigers, you don't get all the stellar defensive plays this weekend." He's got one of his own. No runs, no hits. No errors, none left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Wildcats down to the last 6 outs, down 3-0 here on the Cat Eye Network. Wildcats down to their last 6 outs here at the Jack tonight. They trail 3-0 against Jackson State, and they're going to have to contend with one of the better closers in the SWAC. Eric Gonzalez takes the hill for the Tigers. In 24 appearances, he's 1-2 with a 3.94 ERA. 45 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 22 runs on 39 hits, 20 earned, 59 strikeouts, 19 walks. He's allowed 7 doubles, no triples, 3 home runs, and he has a SWAC leading 8 saves. One more than Yohan Gonzalez, who's got 7. And he starts by facing Garrett Chun, gets a strike call, and it's 0-1. Chun flied out to center in the first, walked in the third, struck out in the fifth. Punches this one down the left field line. There's a base hit.
Well, that's the kind of start you need. Probably common sense to say that one, but a nice solid base hit. Not reaching via the walk or via hit by pitch or anything else. Starting it off with some nice solid contact. Hopefully setting the table for a little Wildcats rally here.
Highland Hall up now. Not had a great day at the plate. Grounded out in the first, flied out to center in the third, flied out to third in the sixth. Squares to bunt, pulls it back, called a strike. Gonzalez is a sophomore from Bayamon, Puerto Rico. His first season as the main reliever on this Jackson State roster. Ahead 0-1 on Highland Hall, spinning a throw back to first. Last year he was 6-5 with a 4.97 ERA, had 92 1/3 innings pitched, so used more as a long reliever than a closer. Breaking ball, misses inside, 1-1. Gonzalez, another big kid, 5'10", 235. Can really whip that right arm around, throws pretty hard.
Kind of has a similar delivery to Caraway, who we just saw. If you squint your eyes, you probably can't tell much of a difference.
Another spin and throw back to first. Scoreboard says 0-2. I have 1-1.
Live stats also say 0-2.
0-2, so it's an 0-2 count. Incorrectly called that second pitch a ball. Here's the 0-2. Hall lifts this one in the air to left center field. Bannon moving over makes the catch. Hit a lot of balls hard out towards Bannon in this series, but he's made pretty much every play.
Kind of an interesting swing there from Hall. I mean, he got on top of the ball, saw it really well, just didn't put enough power behind it to get that one out.
Boris Pena bats now with one down and Chun aboard at first. First pitch, upstairs, ball 1. We were talking last night about the battle for the most saves in the SWAC between Gonzalez of the Eric variety and the Gonzalez of the Yohan variety for Bethune-Cookman. Of course, Jackson State's Eric Gonzalez comes in with one more save and a chance to lock up that saves winner here with a 6-out one tonight and pretty much lock up relief pitcher of the year in the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Yeah, it's kind of an award that's usually given to the player with the most saves because it's the easiest statistically to kind of say, well, there's your best closer, must be the best reliever.
Breaking ball, missed inside. 3-1 now to Pena. Boris was hit by a pitch in the second and singled in the fourth. In both of those times, he was caught in the middle of a double play. Oh, and a strike called as Pena was already out of the batter's box and moving down to first. And the count goes full 3-2. And then Pena flied out to left in the sixth.
This is a really big pitch for the Wildcats' chances in this game.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Garrett Chun waits on first. Gonzalez comes set. Now winds and fires. Pena rips this one to right field. That's going to get down for a base hit in front of Saavedra. Nice jump, and going to third is Garrett Chun. So a single puts runners on the corners for Robert Moya.
Boris Pena, one of the more clutch hitters on this Wildcats club, if not the most clutch hitter. Nice base hit there, puts the Wildcats in the best position maybe we've seen today.
Robert Moya, a chance to change his narrative. He's hit into 2 double plays today and then popped out in foul territory. But now runners on the corners and 1 down to give the Wildcats a much-needed run. Check swing, did he go? No. Count 1-0.
Alabama State just stranded the bases loaded in the top of the 7th, so that score stays at 7-5. Rattlers have a runner on first with 1 away.
Pitch from Gonzalez. Strike called. Moya watches it go. Big spot here for Moya with the pine tar covering the helmet. Gonzalez deals upstairs, almost hit him. Maybe it did catch him. And Moya down in obvious consternation. Coach Hernandez telling the home plate umpire it hit him in the wrist.
One of those ones we wish we had the benefit of replay for that one. We'll see what he shows to our athletic trainer here, Laney Lures.
They check down to first. The first base umpire, Kalen Hamilton, said he did not swing. He didn't swing because he was diving out of the way. And now they're going to talk to see if that ball did hit him on the wrist. And it looked like the home plate umpire, Darrell Cooper, was explaining to Hernandez why even if it did, it wouldn't matter.
It obviously hit him. The question is going to be, did it hit the bat first?
Well, in that case, it's a foul ball and not a ball. The home plate umpire signaled 2-1. And if it was a foul ball, it would have been 1-2.
It's funny to think of the possibility that Moya's over there making it up to try to get on base or take the ball there. It looks like they're going to keep him at the plate.
They're going to keep him in the batter's box at a 2-1 count, and you wonder if he's maybe jammed a finger or has a bruise on his power hand. The right hand was what the athletic trainer was checking. How effective he's going to be now.
Well, regardless of the outcome of this at bat, it's what's most important is that you have Robert Moya for the tournament next week. That would be a devastating blow to this lineup. Guy that completely changes the complexion of the middle of that order.
2-1. I think you got to be kind of patient and make him throw you something good here if you're Moya. Runners on the corners. Chun at third, Pena at first. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball. Misses high, 3-1. Now I think you got to be taken all the way. But with Robert Moya, who knows? He loves to swing the bat. He does, and sharply hits it foul. And the count runs full.
Back-to-back full counts. Another big one for the fortunes of the Wildcats for this game. Could go bases loaded. Could potentially score the first run.
The biggest gap is on the first base side. There's also a gap between short and third because the middle infielders are playing towards the bag. Moya swings and misses, strike 3. He loaded up and tried to launch one into the river. And he ends up sitting down, and there's 2 outs, and here's Manny Safrain.
Frustrating night for Moya.
Been kind of a frustrating series for him ever since that 2 RBI double in the first yesterday. He struck out 3 times, hit into 2 double plays, and popped out twice. Safrain now swings and misses at the first offering from Gonzalez. And once again, Bryce, runners left on base. may come back to haunt the Wildcats in this one.
9 of them so far tonight. 9 for each team.
The 0-1 low, 1-1. Safrain, the sophomore from Miami, prepped at Braddock Senior High School. Looking to keep the Wildcats' hopes alive in this one. 2 on, 2 out in the 8th, and he hits it to center field. That's going to be down for a base hit. Chun scores. It's an RBI single for Manny Safrain, and the Wildcats are finally on the board.
Well, Mike, we've been saying Manny Safrain's been due a little bit of luck after his last 2 nights. No luck involved in that one, though. Punches that one right up the middle. Just what the doctor ordered for the Wildcats. But you can't stop now. Only 1 run home, 2 more to match it.
Here's Irvin Escobar, flied out to left in the 1st, grounded to 3rd in the 4th, singled and was stranded on 3rd in the 7th, so he bats for the 2nd consecutive inning in a big spot. 2 on, 2 out. Breaking ball high, 1-0. Escobar, also a sophomore, just like Safrain, takes a strike from Barceloneta, Puerto Rico. The 1-1 check swing. He didn't go, and the pitch lands outside, 2-1. Wildcats making Gonzalez earn this one here in the 8th. Big cut and miss on the fastball from Escobar, 2-2. The fastball has been Gonzalez's go-to pitch. He's missed a lot with the breaking ball both inside and high. Would expect for him to go back to it here.
Irvin Escobar, a guy with really great plate discipline in this Wildcats lineup. He's going to make it hard.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on base. Wildcats down by 2. Here's the pitch. Escobar hits it foul, first base side. Looked good off the bat, but immediately hooked to the right.
Shoot, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on, 22 at the plate. That's Yahtzee, Mike.
It is indeed. Unfortunately, we're not playing with dice. We're playing baseball. Gonzalez requests a fresh ball from the umpire, rolls one to the BCU dugout. Tense moment here for both sides. Pena on second. Safrain on first. Gonzalez deals. Hit into right field. There's a base hit. Pena is going to trundle around third. Here's the throw to the plate. It is cut off. It's a base hit and an RBI single for Irvin Escobar. And this game is a 1-run contest, 3-2.
That's 2 hits like that in this inning. Boris Pena and Irvin Escobar both flaring it out to the opposite field there. Just nice taking advantage of the pitch you get, not trying to do too much.
That's the most efficient they could be. Look where the infielders are playing, right? You've got Mersman checking the runner at first. You've got Guy on the runner at second. So you've got all day to kind of pick your spot, poke one the other way through the right-hand side. And both Pena and Escobar have done that.
I think that's kind of what got Robert Moya in trouble earlier in this inning, is he didn't do as much to kind of take what the defense gave him, tried to make a little bit more out of it, and that's where you could kind of see that frustration come in. But the same thing is going to apply here for Colton Olesen, and he's certainly not a guy who's going to be swinging out of his shoes, but survey the defense, make the pitcher throw strikes. Gonzalez has already been challenged in this inning. Work your way into a hitter's count and keep it simple.
Now here's Colton Olesen with a chance to tie the game. There was a quick meeting on the mound. Omar Johnson went out there to talk to his defense. Johnson in his 13th season as the head coach at Jackson State. Has never had a losing season since 2007 when he took the job. First pitch, big cut and miss for Olesen. No correction, that was a ball, and Olesen just dived out of the way. I saw that as a swing. My apologies. The 1-0, Olesen, little excuse me swing, fouls it off 1-1.
Olesen 15 strikeouts this season to 21 walks. He and Escobar, 2 of the 3 Wildcats this year who have more walks than strikeouts. They're going to make it hard.
33 hits for Olesen on the season. Only 18 RBIs. Would love another one right here. Gonzalez is 1-1. Big cut and miss for Olesen. 1-2. As Yohan Gonzalez starts to warm up in the Wildcat bullpen in preparation that maybe he is going to be needed tonight.
Still got that hole over on the right side of the infield.
Gonzalez, the 1-2. Check swing. Upstairs, ball 2.
That is a tough take from Olesen. Looked like it may have ticked that top corner. I think it's the right call from the home plate official, but credit to Olesen for laying off that one, especially with the always expanding strike zone with 2 strikes here.
We're once again 2-2, 2 outs, 2 on. The 2-2. Olesen hits it foul to right field. And out of play. And he hangs on.
We'll see what kind of clutch hitting we get here, Mike. We questioned that earlier here in the broadcast. But now's a good time to erase a lot of that.
Jeremy Garcia awaits on deck if Olesen can keep the inning going. The 2-2 once again. Olesen fights off another one.
If you're a Jackson State fan and any situation like this, these long at-bats always seem to end up in favor of the batter. It just gets a little tight the further and further we go. Olesen seeing the ball well, just hasn't been able to put it in the field of play yet.
Gonzalez up to 26 pitches on the inning, and each one has been pressure-packed. The 2-2 again. Olesen fights it off for a 3rd time. Looking over at the Alabama State game, they're up 10-5 in the 8th. A little bit of daylight for the Hornets over Florida A&M.
Yeah, they've pushed 3 runs across here in the 8th with 2 out. They've got a runner on second.
Wildcats trying to stage a comeback of their own at Jackie Robinson Ballpark tonight. For the 3rd time, here's the 2-2 to Olesen. Up the middle, tough play. It's going to get into center field, and everybody's safe. It was eventually cut off by Gomez that saved a run as Sufrain had to dive back to 3rd. But the bases are juiced for Jeremy Garcia, and a chance to rewrite some history now for number 25.
I'm a little surprised we didn't see a pinch hitter here in this situation, Mike. But Jeremy Garcia has a chance to really erase a lot of doubts on one swing here.
Garcia 0 for 3 with 2 sacrifice bunts. The time he didn't sack bunt was in the 7th when he flied out behind 3rd base. First pitch is low, ball 1. The 2nd pitch is fouled away. 1-1.
And the Wildcats have done a great job, like we've said, Mike, of really making Gonzalez work here. They're not biting on anything.
Gonzalez really particular about the baseballs he uses, and throws another one to the BCU dugout.
Not something you see a lot in the college game.
Nolan Santos on his off day, playing runner boy, having to run more baseballs out to the home plate umpire.
Superstars, Mike, they're just like us.
The count is 1-1 on Jeremy Garcia. Bases loaded, 2 outs here in the 8th. Wildcats down by 1. Big breath from Gonzalez. He deals. It's hit high in the air to left. Bannon moves over, makes the catch near the line to end the inning. The Wildcats got 2 runs on 5 hits. They leave the bases loaded, and it's going to come down to the 9th inning. We go to the final frame. 3-2 Jackson State here on the Cat Eye Network. Top 9 here at the Jack. Wildcats used 5 hits in the bottom of the 8th to close the gap to 3-2. They're going to have to get it done with defense and give the offense a chance to walk it off in the bottom half. Omar Gomez leads off for Jackson State. Pablo Torres still out there. First pitch, a strike. Torres has thrown 36 pitches in his outing now that extends into the fourth inning, excuse me. Came in with one away in the 6th. Second pitch, strike. Quickly 0-2 to Gomez. Gomez flied to center in the 2nd, grounded to 3rd in the 4th. Reached on a interference call at first in the 6th. I guess he's technically credited with an RBI because that interference call scored Mersman from 3rd. But he strikes out on 3 pitches there. One away. Here's Colby Guy. Guy popped out behind second base in the 3rd, singled and scored in the 5th, and struck out in the 6th. Also, funnily enough, Colby is a pitcher on this team. He has 14 appearances on the season. So maybe a guy we might see tomorrow on the hill in what will likely be a bullpen day for both clubs.
Particularly if Alabama State can hold on with that 10-5 lead right now in the bottom of the 8th. It'll be a meaningless game here at the Jack tomorrow.
The 1-0 inside ball 2. Correction, this is Miles White pinch hitting, not Colby Guy. Miles White we saw play at second base yesterday for Jackson State. He calls time. White, a junior from Mobile, Alabama, transfer from Wallace Dothan Community College. Count currently 2-1 on him. Pablo Torres would love a nice quick inning here, try and keep the momentum that the Wildcats had offensively. Chop to first. Dufresne takes it himself. 2 away.
It's kind of been a frustrating night offensively for both teams. You've got 8 hits for Jackson State, 10 for BCU, and
only 5 runs combined.
Only 5 runs to show for it.
Here's the top of the order with Jatavius Melton. Melton walked in the 1st, singled in the 3rd, stranded both times, grounded out in the 5th, struck out in the 6th. Combined, these teams have left 17 runners on base today. So not a banner day for the offenses by any means. I mean, neither was yesterday. We've had 2 really well-played pitching and defensive games in the first 2 games of this series. Count quickly 0-2 on Melton. Torres trying for the finishing touch. He does get the swing and miss on a fastball upstairs and out. 1-2-3 go the Tigers. Last ups for the Wildcats, down by 1. We go to the bottom of the 9th right here on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Wildcats down by 1, needing an appearance from the Cardiac Cats to get the job done here on Friday night. It will be the top of the order, Luis Tuero to lead off, and we have a new pitcher on the hill for Jackson State. This is Brandon Haston, and if that name sounds familiar to you, well, we saw him last night close out the game for Jackson State through 1 inning, gave up 1 run on 1 hit. Should have been 2 hits, but there was an error on the play. But this is a risky move by the Jackson State coaching staff, sending out a guy that has innings already in this series, is a guy that the Wildcats have already seen and hit in this series. First pitch, strike, right at the letters to Luis Tuero.
Tigers have an arm warming in the pen. It's an interesting strategy because you kind of figure if anything goes south here, it's over.
Tipped foul. Quickly 0-2 on Tuero. Warming in the pen, that's Irwin's Branch. 0-3 with a 13 ERA. But it's probably going to be Hasta to try and close this one out for Jackson State. He's ahead of Tuero 0-2. And he gets him to foul one off. That was close and on the hands. And Tuero stays alive. Look at where the guy is playing. He's 2 feet on the outfield grass, way out there at second base. Gomez, the shortstop, is also on the outfield grass, so they're not going to want anything to beat him in the infield. They're saying, hey, if you want to beat us, you're going to have to hit the ball hard. We know their outfielders have been spectacular this season, this series, especially Bannon. Shot towards third. It's going to stay fair. Tough play for Hill. Throws across the diamond in time. 1 away.
Wildcats have not been done any favors by the Jackson State defense this series. Like you just said, Mike, all across the diamond. They have made it tough.
Ty Hill, I'm trying to see how many putouts he has today. 1, 2, 3. That's his 4th just now. Here's Garrett Chun. Singled and scored in the 8th. Pops this one foul out of play.
The Wildcats have had success against this bullpen. It's been when they've been patient in counts. But again, we see them kind of falling back into being overly aggressive. A lot of first pitch swingings.
Chun watches ball 1 low, 1-1. A strike just barely catches the outside corner, 1-2. A pastel-colored sky slowly fades to black here at the Jackie Robinson Ballpark. Chun stays alive, 1-2. Some wisp of clouds in the distance as the lights of downtown Daytona Beach illuminate the last gasps of the Wildcats in this ballgame. Another 1-2 from Haston, outside 2-2.
Florida A&M and Alabama State heads to the 9th inning. Hornets still up 10-5.
The 2-2 low. 3-2 and the at-bat goes on.
We talk about the patience paying off. Another big 3-2 count. We've seen a lot of those in the last couple innings.
Up the middle. Diving stop made by White. Throws to first, and he throws it over the first baseman's head. I'm not sure if they'll score that a hit or an error, because it was close play at first. But anyway, Garrett Chun is aboard.
I have to imagine that one will go in as a hit. Nearly took the head off of somebody in the dugout. A tough play to make, but also a pretty dangerous one to try. With a 1-run lead, you could have potentially put a runner in scoring position if that ball goes into the dugout.
They did give it a hit. So it's a base hit for Garrett Chun for consecutive innings. He represents the tying run with 1 down. Here's Highland Hall, 0 for 4, but he's put the ball in play every time. A ground out in the first and 3 flyouts in the 3rd, 6th, and 8th. Ball low, 1-0.
Would you say he's due, Mike?
I never want to say that, but he hasn't made convincing contact tonight. A lot of soft pop-ups. He's been the one Wildcat that really hasn't hit the ball that hard. This time he does, but it's straight at White at second, and the Wildcats are down to their final out.
Hall got a little bit under that ball, kind of just flared it out to the second baseman, but if that one's just a few feet more to the right, that one's just like the 2 hits we saw from Pena and Escobar last inning. But if ifs and buts.
Well, speak of the devil, the last gasp for the Wildcats is Boris Pena. Hit by a pitch, caught in a double play in the second. Singled, caught in a double play in the fourth. Flied out to right in the sixth. Singled and scored in the eighth. Fouls this one off 0-1. Haston looking for what would be his first save of the season. The sophomore from Dallas, Georgia, transferred from Georgia State. The 0-1, chop foul, 0-2, Wildcats down to their last strike.
Yeah, Boris Pena having trouble catching up to that fastball. He's been well behind it. See if Haston goes back to it here.
Game on the line right here. Haston sets, winds and deals. Jackson State bench wanted strike 3, but it's inside. Belt high pitch misses, and it's 1-2. We once again wait for the payoff from Haston. He deals outside, and a nice sprawling grab by Louise to keep that one from flying to the backstop. 2-2.
Haston just going for that strikeout pitch, trying to get Pena to chase something. I expect we'll probably see something similar here.
Shakes off a couple of pitches, now comes set. The 2-2. Pena fouls it off onto Orange Avenue. And we are still playing baseball here. 8:35, game's gone by pretty fast. Haston deals the 2-2, hits Pena on the shin, and the Wildcats stay alive. The tying run moves to second with Garrett Chun. It's the second hit by pitch of the game for Boris Pena, the third for Bethune-Cookman. And now it's Robert Moya. He had a chance to change the narrative. Last inning, he struck out with 2 on. Now he's got 2 on again and a chance to tie the game.
The middle of that Wildcats order so dangerous all season.
We're going to see Malik Stevens pinch run for Boris Pena. This is a smart move because if something gets in the alleys, we know Malik Stevens can easily run it first.
Maybe the fastest guy on this Wildcats team. I think that's fair to say. This middle of this order has been uncharacteristically quiet. Boris Pena, the only guy who's really made an impact at the plate. Robert Moya, a chance to change that.
Moya watches ball 1 miss the outside corner. And the Jackson State dugout, especially head coach Omar Johnson, does not like that one. Big cut and miss from Moya, 1-1. He is swinging for the moon.
Clearly the approach isn't changing. He's trying to launch one here.
The 1-1. Moya loads up, fouls it back to the screen. Wildcats for the second time in this inning, down to their last strike.
Their big uppercut hack from Robert Moya. I'm just trying to put this one in play where there's not a defense.
The biggest gap in the outfield is in left center. The 1-2, Moya fouls it off. Haston went for the strikeout pitch again, up and away to the righties. Two down in the ninth. Tying run on second in the form of Garrett Chun. Here's the pitch. Jackson State wanted the game to be over right there, but it's inside. 2-2. Good take from Moya.
Ball well inside. Robert Moya, despite all his big swinging, does lead the team in walks.
The 2-2. Check swing high. He did not go around. 3-2.
That is a good take. That's a tough one to take. Really pressing the issue. Graded bad by Moya.
The payoff with the game on the line. Haston deals. Moya hits this one deep in the air to left. It's going back. It's at the wall. It's gone. Adios, amigos. Robert Moya sends us home with a walk-off winner. The Hammer and Hialeah does it again with his 8th home run of the season.
And just like that, an 0 for 4 night is not so bad anymore. Good God, was that ball crushed.
Robert Moya comes through in the clutch. He hasn't done it all series long, but he got one over the heart of the plate from Haston and just hammered it. I think that one went exactly where Brian Perez's home run went a couple of weeks ago, over the auxiliary scoreboard in left field.
Best win of the season, Mike?
This one feels good. This one, it feels real good. We were down for a long time, couldn't get the offense going, really frustrated by the Jackson State pitching staff. Campbell, Caraway were really fantastic. Gonzalez came in, gave us an opening, and then they brought in Haston for the last half inning, and maybe a tactical blunder by Jackson State and Omar Johnson at the end of the game.
Yeah, Mike, it's tough to say, and then, of course, Jackson State, the game doesn't ultimately mean anything in the standings, but in the spirit of that team and the momentum heading into the postseason, to go from knotting up the series to losing a heartbreaker like that, it doesn't help the issue.
With that home run from Robert Moya, the Wildcats win the game 5-3. They clinch the number 2 seed in the East. It doesn't matter what the Hornets and Rattlers do in Tallahassee. And the Wildcats have won this series and have earned at minimum a split with the Jackson State Tigers on the season.
I mean, what more can you say, Mike? It was a stagnant night here at the Jack, even leading back to last night after that first inning. And then you look back at the last 2 nights, 2 wins later, and it all gets wiped away. We've seen the bats still continue to click. I mean, that's the most clutch hitting we've seen from the Wildcats. It's maybe the FIU game, which they ultimately lost. That's the kind of at-bat right there that you have to be able to pull out when you get to tournament time. There's games like that. The tension is high. There's runners on base. Against a playoff team you may very well see again. This Jackson State team is a lot better than a 4 seed.
Yeah, and this team was going to be on our side of the bracket because it's 2 and 4. No, they're going to be on the other side because it's 1 and 4. Is it?
No, it should be 2 and 4.
2 and 4. So yeah, they are going to be on our side of the bracket. So it is very likely we will see this team again, maybe in the upper bracket semifinal.
It's funny. We talked with Coach Hernandez after the game last night, and Robert Moya was the name in particular, coming off the series loss in Jackson State in Jackson about a month or so ago. Johnny said that Moya came up to him after the series and said, "Do you really want to see those guys again in Atlanta?" Certainly the answer is a tough one. They're a hard-nosed, tough team with a great head coach. Obviously the longevity there speaks for itself, and the Wildcats to be able to come up on top, pull this game out when all looked lost. What more can you say? That's a great win for Coach Hernandez and the Wildcats.
Well, I'm sure we could talk about this one all night, but we got to wrap this one up and send the good people home. Final line score for Jackson State, 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors. They left 7 on base, and you got to commend the effort from Jackson State. They played well tonight, probably well enough to win the ball game. The Wildcats, 5 runs on 12 hits, 1 error. They left 10 on base. They sent 33 to the plate. Jackson State sent 32. That one player was the difference. We'll be back tomorrow for Senior Day. The game is at 1. So tune in about 12:30 or so, and we'll have the Senior Day ceremonies for you here on the Cat Eye Network. Until then, For Bryce Rodnowski and our entire crew here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark, my name is Michael Cirillo. Have a very good rest of your evening, and hail Wildcats.
that and broadcasting at the same time?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I get it. I'm glad I taught myself how to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing is working in sports. The more you know how to do, as little as it is, the better.
Like I couldn't do live stats for I could do the book because I know how to do that.
Yeah, I couldn't do the book. I've been asked before. I'm like, yeah, no, I got nothing.
What's so different about the book? It's the same thing. All
I know, I
you're
just
writing it
haven't
down
done-
instead of typing it.
Well,
The book is honestly probably easier.
oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, it's definitely less of a learning curve. My laptop.
I'm gonna try and expedite the process of getting out of here tonight.
Oh, good.
The docket for today. So now you gotta next album. They don't
What are we about?
Yeah.
I said it was close.
Very, very interesting. I'll probably be in the morning. That'll change.
I'm waiting on that.
It'll be at 3 tomorrow.
Well, we think the call behind the play was bad?
I think the second to
Two
last
of
pitch, he was right. He was wilding all day. He was right.
That's standard, buddy. The swag.
Well, we knew it coming into the weekend. I knew who was gonna be behind the plate today. You called it, dude. I said all week. Look, I said that one right there. I said that's gonna be the one. He called it. And Van lost.
Yeah, they got smoked.
We lost to Alabama State, so that knocks that out. So tomorrow's a wash, and I think right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We don't have to play makeup now, though, right?
Yeah, no, it for sure doesn't matter.
Okay.
Well, the only way we would have to play a makeup is if we dropped both and FAMU won the whole thing.
Right. But I'm saying tomorrow now, that's bang.
All we needed was either us win or FAMU loss. We didn't need both.
Got you. So
So tonight didn't matter.
tomorrow's or whatever. I'm gonna be here.
Adios,
I'll
amigos.
probably be here tomorrow.
Yeah. I gotta get with
Boy,
you.
all right, y'all boys. I'm out of here. Okay, you good, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, Bryce. Later, dude. Who got the win?
It was Gavir. Torres.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got the box here for you.
And then, what was his name?
I got it. I'm pulling it up for you right now.
Best one of the
I'm just
season?
gonna print it for you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Here. Coming to you right now, baby.
So Mike got runs, Justin got time.
Well, we gave Mike runs. It was really it was 8. Ended up being 8, but he was closest to it.
I thought if you were under, I thought it was the same.
Yeah, it's close to it. I mean, otherwise, if it wasn't on, but we decided today it's just.
Oh, I thought that's how it worked. I thought if you were under, it was yours.
I didn't think it was for runs, but whatever. I mean, either way, yeah, he was that day.
Man, you stink, dude.
Yeah, big time. We were looking good for a minute there on everything. I was like, yeah, that ain't it. That ain't it.
No, that's not tomorrow. Okay. Yes.
Alcorn and Texas Southern. Texas Southern came back
Oh, I
from
know.
7-0.
We were monitoring the whole thing. Yeah, they scored 11 unanswered runs or whatever.
The fact that it took you going that far.
Yep. Sad. Well, they have 6 errors. 6 errors.
8 altogether.
That's so pathetic.
8 in the game.
Just shut it down. Just shut it down. yellow. Gotta see if I can get one from.
Oh, for until then.
For what now?
Over until then. Moya.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Including 2 first pitch.
Oh, I know. Trust me, we talked about it. And it looked ugly. That was a really great at bat. Down 0-2, swinging for the fences. I'm like, dude, just
Swinging for the fence.
kind of the point where it's like, dude, just take a single. Like, stop trying to freaking kill it. And
We were saying that all night.
There you
Like,
go.
bro, just get a base hit. Like, stop.
he's like, oh, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm going deep.
1 for 5. Okay. You say, big guy.
Whatever you say. All sins are erased. Jeremy Garcia, they should have pinch hit for him. All you're doing is tanking his confidence every time he comes out there.
I thought mine was murdered for sending him. For sending him.
But yeah, I don't, oh, for the, yeah. Said Olsen, yeah.
File here.
I'll give you a picture.
This. Actually, Bryce, give me the
Oh, hell yeah, that looks like a home run pitch right there.
thing, man, the sidearm sight.
For what now?
Plug this in so I can upload the section now here rather than going back to the office.
What do you mean the sidearm site?
The login, like the main site to log in.
Like BCU Athletics login?
Yes. No, just what is it? Like sidearm dot.
BCUathletics.com /admin/admin.aspx.
admin/admin/ASPX.
.aspx.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, that picture's Moya in yellow at night. Looks like a home run pitch. I'm in. I am in. There's just enough time for me to still get to Chick-fil-A before it closes. That's what I'm saying. I got time. I gotta go all the way to the one that freaking
Oh,
orange.
that's right. You got
But I'm gonna do it. Robert Moya. Did we just go back with his original walk-up song? Is
yeah. Tomorrow, I already told Josh we're changing everybody. He's like, okay, nice. He's like, what? It's all right, bro.
Damn, Nolan and Alec already retweeted the freaking video. It's just gone off the field. And the Celtics are winning by 1 after a quarter. The miracles never cease. 380-512-1-0023. Mr. See you, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Gotta post the score. You got a caption idea for me, Brian? Unless I should just put, in the words of Kevin Harlan, Robert freaking Moya. Mike called him the Hialeah Hammer, and I kind of like that. I kind of like it.
Shit.
I kind of like it. I kind of like it.
Oh my gosh.
God, please. Like Robert freaking Moya.
You know what? Yeah. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. It's Robert freaking Moya. That's it.
All right, 3. And we are
Wow. Dwayne gave me a wonderful brisket on the board
Chopper sliced.
sandwich here.
Chopper sliced.
We have got, oh, my good man, hot sauce coming on that when I get to the house, and we've got dinner.
All game.
And we have got dinner.
I'm gonna put the video.
Sent everything to D, everything is to the NCAA. You've got that. That is now done. Oh, shoot. Turn that back off. This is asleep. Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's see if I
give
can
Johnny his keys.
Jake was coming back and forth between.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, let's see what Bryson been doing. I'm like, have at it, bud.
You just keep sending him over, huh?
Have at it, bud. Have at that too, bud.
Good luck to you.
Whatever you want to do, big guy.
I'm done. Actually, have room.
You good, baby? What you need, brother? Oh, I got you, baby. Tomorrow, McCain, across the street. All right, there it is. Wings on me, drinks on the kids here, first down. Okay, what? Get how much you need, baby. You still, baby? This guy? Oh, you mean like catering and stuff for next week? What you mean? Yeah. Yeah, we're waiting on budgets from the university people. That's like the only reason to try to figure it out. That's why I like to have. Hey, look at that.